Well, good morning, kite loads. Hi, light codes. How's light codes today? Groovy. Glad to hear it. So this blue spiral, light codes. What about these people that think it's SpaceX? Crazy, huh? Considering I seen it in 1996. Yeah, and it took me, well, I spent the next 16 years after that summer night trying to find somebody else who'd seen something like it. A friend of mine and I got off work. I was a closing manager at Arby's. I was just about a week shy of turning 21. And we had to make a little, well, we had to take about a 45-minute drive out to the country after work. It was late at night. Yeah, we just had to go say hi to somebody. We had to go pick something up. Yeah, we just had to go pick up some Tupperware. Yeah, that's it. Our girlfriends were having a Tupperware party, so we went and picked up some Tupperware real quick before we went home. Anyway, we were on this road called East Bay Drive. It was right in the East Bay here in the city I live in Oregon. And this blue spiral started swirling around, this neon blue, and it definitely had some intelligence to it. We would stop and it would stop. And then we'd stop again to make sure it stopped. And it would stop. And this thing followed us along the shoreline close to 20 minutes. It's a really long drive out there. You go out to the country, and then you come back, and then you got to take the road back, and it's along the bay. And this thing swirled like an X, in and out and up and down, and it was really wild. I'd never seen anything like it before, and I never seen anything like it again until 2012, when I saw somebody talking about the Norway spiral. And I'm not sure if it was the Norway spiral I saw, but it was definitely something extraterrestrial. Probably the Pleiadians giving me, an early signal that they'd be coming years later to me. Well, they were never not with me, but, as far as into my consciousness. But it was really trippy. We were like, what the hell is that? And we were wondering, every now and then, every couple of years or so, I'll run into him. His name's Matt. I'll run into him and his wife, Tammy. And we'll talk about it still. Like, God, what the hell was that? Yeah, well, in the last couple of times I've met him, ran into him and talked to him, I've told him, well, yeah, it was extraterrestrial, my brother. Definitely. Yeah, it was really a trip, though. Yeah, we just had to go out and, we wanted to go say hi to somebody real quick, way out of the way. So we drove out there, and, yeah, it was late. It was probably not real late, but it was probably around midnight. It was probably around midnight when this happened, because it was about 11 when we headed out there. And then we just stayed for a couple minutes just to say hi and pick up some Tupperware, and made that drive back. And we pulled off of Wilshire and right along the bay to come back over. And then you follow this windy road right along the shoreline all the way until you get to the bridge to come back into town. Yeah, and it was a trip. This thing followed us, and we stopped several times. Probably 5-6 times we stopped. At one point, it would stop. And it would dance in the sky and do all kinds of shit. It looked like the Pleiadian Seven Sisters swirling around. Some of those pictures you see with him kind of swirling around, that's what it looked like. It was intertwining like that, spiraling. It was really a trip. But that's why I laugh when I hear people talk about it being SpaceX. They always bring up that goofball Elon Musk. God. Well, he's a wealthy goofball, but, he's a goofball. Oh, it's SpaceX. And the first time I heard somebody say that, I'm like, dude, you heard that on the fucking news or from some paranoid shit you listen to or watch. And I didn't know that, but I was sure of it. Oh, just assume it was SpaceX. Like, oh, Elon, and I could tell one of those people that got a hard on over Elon Musk. Oh, he's a great entrepreneur and is private. See, he's not a fucking private citizen. He's a politician. He's a billionaire, dude. Being a private citizen. Nobody becomes a billionaire as a private citizen. My God. You got to be bought and paid for already to be a billionaire, born into it, or, they don't just let you become one of those, no matter how hard you work. You have to give back, if you know what I'm saying. And just by nature alone, having that kind of dough, I mean, come on, man. Feed the world. And yes, it is your responsibility to feed the world when you have that kind of money. I'm sorry. It is. It's one thing to strive to achieve a couple $1,000,000 for, take care of your family, generational wealth. But when you're into the hundreds of millions and billions, it's gluttony. Seriously. I mean, it's serious gluttony. And you're out of touch anyway. Just by having that kind of money, you're out of touch with reality. Even a good person that comes into a decent fair amount of money, they're automatically out of touch with reality in the sense that if they are in a position where they don't ever have to worry about a bill again or a meal, they don't have to worry about something like that ever again. They know that as long as they're not real stupid and purposely get foolish with their money, they know they'll never have to worry about that. When you have that kind of security like that, you're automatically, just by the nature of it, out of touch with reality, of most people's reality. And you can remember what it was like to be that way, but just by the mere aspect of being that secure, you're in a position that the majority of the people in the world are not in. And that's no shame, there's nothing wrong with that, being in that spot, but you have to acknowledge that you are that way. You know what I mean? You have a freedom, no matter how bad the rest of your life is, as far as what else is going on, you have that freedom that most people could ever dream to ever have. And it's not about dwelling on it, but it's about acknowledging that and being grateful. Right, light codes. But yeah, I got a kick out of these morons saying that, it's SpaceX. Well, it could be, but it isn't just SpaceX that produces that. I don't think fucking SpaceX was around in 1996, not Elon Musk's cheap piece of shit version of it. No. I don't think so, but man, I spent forever. I mean, I think I even called Art Bell one time and asked about it. But I would ask a lot of people that had seen UFOs. Nobody had ever seen anything quite like what I described. And the Norway spiral was kind of like it, but the SpaceX is exactly what I saw. And I keep in mind this was in the summer of 96. In fact, it was in the last week of July of 96, because it was about a week. I remember I had like 5 or 6 days before my 21st birthday. Yeah. I remember, too, because it was the only time in my life I ever bought, it's the only time I ever bought beer when I was underage that I bought at a store, or even tried to, because, I wasn't stupid. But this guy that used to work for me at Arby's, we went into the store, and he thought he's all, you celebrated your birthday just the other day. He thought my birthday was on, like, the 21st or something instead of the 1st of August. He thought it was the 21st of July. Oh, you celebrated your birthday, happy 21st. And something popped in my mind, and I said, hey, you know what? And I went and grabbed a beer, and he sold it to me. And, yeah, and I told him the next day, I said, hey, man, I was just testing you. I'm not 21 until August 1st. But, yeah, I wouldn't want to get anybody in trouble. But that's the only time I did it. The only time I even attempted to, and it worked. But, yeah. All right, kite loads. We love you, kite loads, so much. Oh, kite loads. We love you. Yes, we do. All right, good night, everybody.